Hello, and here I am again, and this is my video number 7. And this is going to be a small video because you may remember in my previous video, that is video number 6, there was some mismatch happening between these answers and the questions of this particular topic, that is the applications of exothermic and endothermic reactions. Okay. So, and that's the reason, I couldn't complete this question number 9, 10, and 11. I did only up to 8, right? So this 9, 10, and 11 question, now I'm going to complete in this video. So this is my video number 7, and you are going to do question number 9 to 11, 3 questions from the textbook. Okay. So first, let us see what is question number 9 over here. Now you can see this is that question number 9, right? It says that explain why self-heating cans are very expensive. Okay, now this we have discussed in our previous lecture about the application of endothermic and exothermic reactions, right? So these self-heating cans are something which are nothing but the application of exothermic reaction, right? So let us see what should be the answer for this. Explain why self-heating cans are very expensive. Now self-heating can, now this is the answer, right? Self-heating cans are expensive as it has to be made in such a way that the chemicals used to warm the food or the drink do not come in contact with each other. Okay. So see, basically in this self-heating cans, the thing is what, at the bottom of the can, now suppose this is the can. Okay. So at the bottom of the can, they make a special arrangement of a two compartment system, where in one compartment you have something called calcium oxide, and in the other one you have something called water. Okay. So these two chemicals are kept in this at the bottom of the can, and in the remaining part of the can, you will find that the fluid, that is the tea or coffee, okay, is kept. Okay, tea or coffee, whatever drink you want to have it, that is put in this can. Okay, in the remaining part of the can, this is the can. This is known as a self-heating can. Now this calcium oxide and water, they are separated by a thin foil. Okay, there is a thin foil, okay, in between these two. Now what happens, there's a small button like thing at the bottom of the can. When you press this button, what happens, this thin foil, it breaks open. Okay, this thin foil will break. When the foil breaks, what happens, the calcium oxide and water, they combine together. So calcium oxide, okay, now I will write the formula because you don't have to write formulas, but I'm telling you calcium oxide formula is CaO, and that reacts with the water. Okay, and in the process what happens is calcium hydroxide is formed. Okay, CaOH twice, this is the formula, and this is an exothermic reaction, so heat is given out plus delta H. Okay, so this being a exothermic reaction, heat is given out, and this heat which is given out because of this reaction taking place is made use in heating this tea or coffee. Okay, so this is heated, this tea or coffee gets heated or it becomes warm because of this particular delta H. Okay, so this is the mechanism of a heating can, self-heating can. Now the question was why these self-heating cans are expensive. So the very simple answer is because of this special arrangement that has to be made. Okay, okay, there is a modification. The can is not as simple as a hollow vessel where you can keep your tea or coffee. There is this particular arrangement of calcium oxide and water being kept in two different chambers separated by a thin foil, isn't it? So that arrangement makes this particular can a bit costly or expensive. Okay. Another reason can be this particular can be used only once. Okay, because once this calcium oxide and water, they react, it is a irreversible reaction. So once the reaction is over, okay, when the chemical reaction is over, the heat will not be produced again. Okay, so you cannot again get the heat that is required. So this is only one time use can. Okay, and that is the reason why these cans are expensive. Okay, so that is the answer for this question number 9. Right? Now let us see what is the answer for question number 10. First, let us see what is question number 10. So here you can see question number 10. It says that explain why a self-heating food container can only be used once. Okay, now just now I told you about this also in this answer only. Okay, now this is a food container, not a tea or a coffee container. Okay, so this is a food container. So same mechanism, only thing is instead of tea or coffee, you can have some food which can be kept in that container. And same mechanism, there will be calcium oxide and water separated in a two compartment, and you'll have to break open the thin foil so that the reaction takes place between the two and the heat is evolved because of the exothermic reaction taking place, and that heat will be used for the heating purpose of that food in that particular can. Okay, so self-heating cans can be used only once because the foil once broken will make the exothermic reaction generate heat for making the drink or the food hot. Okay, but then what will happen, this is not a reversible reaction, so it will not again go in the backward direction, or it will not be repeated again, because once the chemical reaction is over, that heat produced will be used up. Okay, now to again, if you want to produce the heat, okay, again you want to get the heat from the reaction, you will have to get the two things again into the can, which is next to impossible, and that is why these cans are just one time use only. Okay, so the answer to this, why this self-heating food container can be used only once, because the reason is once the reaction between calcium oxide and water takes place, okay, the heat energy that is given out is used once for all, then you don't have any chemical left to react, and therefore there will not be any chemical reaction taking place again, and so heat will not be produced again. So it is only one time use container, right? The last question is question number 11, and question number 11 says that describe one advantage and one disadvantage of each of the two types of the ice pack described above. Now, in the question, they are saying that the ice pack of two types are described, but it is not described in the question. But let me tell you, there are two types of ice pack. One is the one which is using ice cubes, okay, and the other one is in which they use chemicals, okay. So this way, there are two types of ice pack. In one type of ice pack, they use ice cube, and in the other type of ice pack, they use chemicals. Okay, now both this ice pack are used for the same purpose. Okay, so if you have some inflammation, some swelling, okay, in your arm or on your leg or any part of the body, then you use this ice pack, okay, to get that cooling effect. Okay, so it is placed on that inflated portion of the body, and the inflated portion of the body, from that inflated portion of the body, the heat is taken away, because this particular ice cube, it has a property of taking in the heat from the surrounding, because it is endothermic reaction, right? So ice pack with ice cube, so if you have a bag, okay, ice bag, and if you put some ice cube in it, the bag will become cool, okay, and the ice inside will slowly start melting, and that ice bag, if you keep on your inflated part of the body where there is inflation, if you keep it there, what will happen, this melting of ice cube being an exothermic reaction, being an exothermic reaction, okay, sorry, melting of ice, okay, is what kind of reaction, exothermic reaction or endothermic reaction? Okay, so this is a exothermic reaction. It is taking in the heat. Endothermic reaction, I'm sorry, see, I'm getting confused, but it is an endothermic reaction because it will take in the heat. When the heat is absorbed, okay, it is endothermic reaction. When the heat is given out, it is exothermic reaction. Here ice cube melting, ice cube, when it melts, it is taking in the heat from the surrounding. Okay, so it is an endothermic reaction. So melting of ice being an endothermic reaction, it will definitely take heat from the surrounding to melt. Now the surrounding is what? The inflated portion of your body. Okay, so when you keep this ice cube containing bag, which is known as ice pack, okay, on that inflated portion of the body, what will happen? From that inflated portion, the heat energy will be absorbed by the this thing. Okay, and since it is an endothermic reaction, the heat will be absorbed by the surrounding, and the ice cube will start melting, but the heat from the body will be taken away. Okay, taken away by the ice cube. So what happens inside the inflated portion of that part, inflated part of that body, you will get a kind of cooling effect. Okay, so that will give you a sort of relief. Okay, so this is a purpose of ice pack and using ice cube. Now same thing, in some ice pack, instead of ice cube, they use chemical. Okay, so here the chemical use is mostly ammonium nitrate. Okay, ammonium nitrate and water. Okay, and water. Now these two chemicals are kept in two different compartments. Okay, and separated by a thin foil. And when the foil is broken, okay, the two will combine. So ammonium nitrate and water will combine and they will react. And this reaction between ammonium nitrate and water is an endothermic reaction. Okay, it is an endothermic reaction. What is the meaning of this? This reaction will take in heat. It will absorb heat. Now from where it is going to absorb heat? It is going to absorb heat from that inflated portion of the body. Okay, inflated part of the body. So the heat energy from the inflated part will be reduced and you will get that cooling effect. Okay, so this is how the ice pack can be used using ice cube as well as using chemical. Now the question is, what are the advantages and disadvantages in both the cases? Now, in the case of ice pack using ice cube, the biggest disadvantage is the biggest advantage is what? They can be reused and are cheaper. So ice cube, once it is melted, you can put more ice cubes into that bag. Okay, so this ice pack can be used again and again. It can be reused, and ice is not that expensive. Also, it is cheaper. So the biggest advantage of ice cube made ice pack is that it can be reused and it is cheaper. It can be reused and it is cheaper. Disadvantage is what? It will be inconvenient. Okay, it will be inconvenient to use. Why inconvenient? Because every time the ice melts, water will be formed. Okay, and that water may fall onto your body or onto your skin, and your hand or the portion of that body where you are keeping that ice pack will become wet. Okay, so that inconvenience is taken as a disadvantage. Another disadvantage is what? Once the ice has melted, now you will have to again either take ice and put it in the bag again, or you will have to put that entire bag in the refrigerator again, so that the water again gets freezed into ice. Okay, and that will take quite some time. So again you will have to put that ice pack into the refrigerator. So now every now and then you will have to put the ice pack into the refrigerator, and that makes it a bit inconvenient, which is nothing but the disadvantage. In the case of chemical made ice pack, what is the advantage? Here the advantage is that inconvenience is not there. Every time you will not have to use the refrigerator. Okay, because we are using chemicals, not ice. Okay, so no need of putting it in the refrigerator. So no use of refrigerator. That is the advantage. And second is disadvantage is what? Once the chemical reaction is complete between this two reactors, that is ammonium nitrate and water. Okay, once this reaction is over, then what will happen? The absorption of heat will stop. Okay, so the body part where you have kept this ice pack, that from that body part, heat will not be taken because the reaction has stopped. Okay, so this is one time use, you can say. This type of ice pack is used only once. Okay, and they are therefore very expensive also. And because that compartment has to be made to keep this ammonium nitrate and water separated by a thin foil, this makes it a bit expensive. So disadvantage is that it is expensive and it can be used only once. Okay, so this was question number 9, 10 and 11, which we have completed now. And in the next video, that is video number 8, now I'll be starting with the remaining whatever the concepts are remaining in this chapter that we will discuss in the next lecture. Okay, that's all for today. Bye, see you.